This house looked like shit.
Are you tired of TV episodes that try too hard to be funny but just fall flat? This Pine Barrens episode is the exact opposite. And here's why it never stops cracking people up. Welcome to Sopranos Breakdown. I'm Matthew. Together, we'll dive deep into the world of Tony, Carmela, and the rest of the crew, uncovering hidden details and exploring the deeper meanings behind every episode. If you love The Sopranos, do me a favor. Smash that like button so more fans can find this content. All right, let's get started. The funniest line in Pine Barrens? Definitely Christopher on Paulie.
He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator. This house looked like shit.
Every time this episode plays, it's just endlessly funny. The sharp dialogue, awkward pauses, and deadpan delivery make it one perfect hour of comedy. Paulie giving orders is classic. Probably wiped your ass barehanded before you came to this country. Christopher deadpans back. Hope we didn't wake you. Paulie snaps, or the other 30 people who live here. When Christopher asks, "So how far is it to Atlantic City?" and immediately gets hit in the head with a shovel.
How far is it to Atlantic City?
Pure, hilarious chaos. The line, "Fuck you, OP, captain or no captain, we're just two assholes lost in the woods," is gold. Then there's,
I'll leave you here, you want you cocksucker!
and the exchange.
You think I really kill you? Yeah, I do.
Awkward silence. Paulie's face says it all. Know how fast I can run. Should have stopped at Roy Rogers, and I should have fucked Dale Evans, but I didn't. That ridiculous randomness is perfect. Side note, Dale Evans was Roy Rogers' wife. No kidding. The could be him out there stalking us. With what? His cock? Exchange wins every time. Lines like these never get old. Mix it with the relish is unforgettable. The request for 1,000 docking stations? Pure nonsense that somehow works.
Do that by your own window. I don't want to smell your piss.
And Chris peeing right outside Paulie's window, knowing how germophobic Paulie is, sets up a brilliant payoff when Paulie jumps out and probably steps right in it. This might be the best TV episode ever made. And the little details. Tony telling Paulie, "You got mayonnaise on your chin," followed by Paulie's confused, "What?" and Tony yelling, "Mayonnaise! Mayonnaise!" is comedic perfection. Christopher's clueless moments also shine.
The Russians? They're not all bad. How about the Cuban Missile Crisis? Cocksuckers moved nuclear warheads into Cuba. Pointed them right at us. That was real? I saw that movie. I thought it was bullshit.
Every line and awkward silence adds to the dark humor. When Paulie rips up the carpet in the van yelling, "We shouldn't even be here," and Chris says, "I'm going to sleep. Give me some of that carpet." It's hysterical, especially since it's frozen stiff. Pine Barrens isn't just a great episode. It's a perfect storm of biting wit and chaotic hilarity that holds up no matter how many times it's watched.
Muda, hi. Yes, Mrs. Soprano from North Caldwell. We had the bear in our yard the other night.
They got fucked, all right.
Stop thinking The Sopranos is just about mobsters and violence. If you're missing the humor, you're missing the whole point. The Sopranos might be one of the funniest shows ever made. Not in the traditional sitcom sense, but in that uniquely twisted way where you're never sure if you should be laughing or reevaluating your moral compass. By the time Season 5 begins, with a bear casually wandering into a backyard, it's clear that the show isn't just about mob life. It's about the absurdity of everyday violence, the ridiculousness of macho culture, and the dark humor lurking behind every single O from an over-the-top Italian-American. The comedy here is deceptively simple. It's in the rhythm of the dialogue, the awkward silences, and the way characters react to horrific events like their mild inconveniences. Take Chris Moltisanti, for example. There's a scene in the snow with a Russian where he yells,
Fuck you, Paulie.
and for some reason, it's impossible not to laugh. It's not just what he says, it's how. Every syllable feels like a punchline wrapped in dysfunction. Then there's the infamous moment where Chris and Paulie kill a waiter over a perceived insult and a tip dispute. The situation is horrifying, but somehow what follows, a moment of bonding over the chaos, is so tonally bizarre that it becomes laugh-out-loud funny. This is the show's magic trick. It's pitch black, but hilarious. Paulie is a goldmine of unintentionally comedic wisdom. I got dosed with acid once, back in '68. I was with your dad and them down at the Copa. BOAC stewardess put it in my drink.
I got dosed with acid once. Back in '68. I was with your dad and them at the Copa. Fucking BOAC stewardess put it in my drink.
Jerry Vale starts singing and I look over. Your Uncle June's got laser beams shooting out his eyes. It's absurd, surreal, and completely believable coming from him. That blend of tough guy posturing and nonsensical storytelling is the show's sweet spot. And then there's Pine Barrens, a masterclass in dark comedy. Two of the most volatile men in the show, Chris and Paulie, get lost in the snow hunting a Russian they think is dead. Every minute of it is chaos.
Guy was an inferior decorator. His house looked like shit.
Nothing sums up the tone of The Sopranos better than this episode. Violent, aimless, and unexpectedly hilarious. Steve Buscemi directed it, which explains a lot. The show is full of these throwaway moments that feel almost improvised.
It's a surprise party, Joe.
What are we, children? Anyway, at our age, it's enough surprise we're still alive every morning.
Like Junior glaring at a courtroom sketch artist, or someone mentioning high-speed internet with absolute seriousness in the middle of a murder plot. They aren't written like jokes, but they land like them. Some call it a psychological drama. Technically, sure. But the deeper truth is that it's a dark comedy disguised as prestige television. The characters are constantly spiraling, and instead of asking for help,
Even touch. What? I lost my appetite.
Fuck you.
Excuse me?
You fucking...
they argue about relish. Even the accents add a layer of comedy, not because they're strange, but because they're used so intentionally.
Welcome back, Tom. Business, too, Christopher shit.
The way Christopher becomes Christophu, or how gabagool is uttered like a sacred chant. It's theatrical, exaggerated, and unforgettable. This isn't just a drama. It's a brutal, brilliant, and bizarre comedy with sociopaths for protagonists, where every line teeters on the edge of menace and hilarity. And that's what makes it one of the greatest shows ever made.
Guy in there killed your father.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Barry Haydo, detective, lieutenant in the Clifton Police Force. Retired today.
Here's what The Sopranos never wanted you to know about Dickie Moltisanti's death, and why the official story might be a total lie. Did that Hawaiian shirt retired cop really kill Dickie Moltisanti? When he told Chris he was being set up, was that the truth, or just a desperate lie to save his own skin? Honestly, it doesn't matter. Tony wanted that guy dead, no matter what. The whole point was to bind Chris to Tony and get rid of a problem. Tony's move was classic manipulation, giving Chris a target to hit while tightening his control. It's not about justice, it's about power and loyalty. As for The Many Saints of Newark, let's just say it's a Sopranos movie, like Christopher Moltisanti was a stockbroker. The casting choices didn't exactly scream authenticity either. Back to Barry Haydo, the retired cop. The moment he hears Moltisanti, you see the wheels turning, like he's flipping through a mental list of people he's killed.
You remember Dickie Moltisanti?
No. No? Is that what you said?
Is he a friend of yours?
He was my father.
Then he panics and denies it. His reaction reeks of guilt, or at least knowledge. He may not have pulled the trigger, but he's dirty, no doubt. In the movie, Junior orders the hit because Dickie laughed at him. Classic petty mob logic. But the original show doesn't link Junior directly to the murder. If the movie tries to connect those dots, it's rewriting the canon.
Did the hit for Jilly Ruffalo. Killing your old man with a can again.
Some say Jilly Ruffalo pushed the button, with Junior covering his tracks. Others suggest Paulie might be involved, though it doesn't fit his character to confess or slip up about something that big. He's a survivor first and foremost. The logistics are interesting.
Yeah, come on. What are you gonna do?
Oh, fuck it, I'm all in.
Chris kills a retired cop, yet there's no massive manhunt or serious investigation. The staged suicide doesn't quite add up. Shot placement is all wrong for it to look convincing. But if the guy was a dirty cop with enemies everywhere, maybe no one cared enough to dig deeper.
Because he's been useful. What does that live?
With the sombrero on?
Tony's real game is clear. He's making sure Chris is tied to him with secrets that could ruin him if he ever turns. Mutual assured destruction. In the end, it's all about power, control, and keeping the family tight.
My dad, your hero, wasn't much more than a fucking junk.
The truth behind who killed Dickie might be forever ambiguous, but that uncertainty is what keeps the story gripping. If you think Tony Soprano fought like a man, you haven't been paying attention. This triggers curiosity and challenges assumptions, pushing viewers to keep watching.
If I was to hear, let's say, a murder was to take place, not that I'm saying it would, but if.
Tony Soprano doesn't fight fair. He doesn't even pretend to. In nearly every altercation he's involved in, he throws the first punch, often before the other guy even knows they're in a fight. Mike Palmas, his driver, Ralph, Jackie Jr., Coco, it's a pattern. The only time Tony loses a fight is when someone else, namely Bobby, gets the jump on him. Fitting. This recurring habit paints a clearer picture of Tony. Not just a violent man, but a calculating one. He's not fighting for pride, honor, or sport. He fights to dominate, to win, and to end things quickly. There's a broader irony in how he's remembered. He's referred to, especially by those closest to him, as a saint. That word gets thrown around often, usually with a mix of nostalgia and willful blindness. He was a saint, they'll say, with the same breathless reverence they once reserved for his father.
Jackie Jr. was shot to death at the Boonton Projects by drug dealers. I'm going over Rosalie's.
All this while ignoring the very real, very violent truths of his life. Shootings, assaults, murders. The episode with Gloria is telling. She throws a piping hot steak at him, apparently without provocation. But context matters. Gloria reminded Tony of his mother, which was all it took to trigger his fury.
Wait, how's the real estate business? Excuse me? You know, HUD, Carside Street, you, Ralph, South.
Her emotional volatility mirrored his mother's, and that resemblance sealed her fate. His reaction wasn't measured or reasoned. It was reflexive and brutal. His style of violence isn't about bravado. It's not a boxing match. There are no rules, no gloves, no referees. It's tactical, driven by instinct and shaped by paranoia. He doesn't wait to get hit. He strikes first, and he strikes hard. In his world, that's not cowardice. It's survival. Tony understands the language of power. Whether it's kneeing Jackie Jr. in the groin, grabbing a man by the crotch to assert dominance, or backhanding someone in mid-conversation, his actions are deliberate and rooted in control. He's not looking for a fair fight. He's looking for a result. There's also the contradiction.
I loved you. What happens I decide, not you? Now, you don't love me anymore, well, that breaks my heart, but it's too fucking bad, because you don't gotta love me. But you will respect me.
Tony criticizes others for doing exactly what he does. He scolds Bobby for throwing a sucker punch, conveniently forgetting that it's been his go-to move for years. That hypocrisy isn't just a personal flaw, it's emblematic of the entire world he inhabits. Violence, loyalty, morality, they're all flexible depending on who's talking and who's in charge. In the end, Tony's success as a mob boss isn't despite his dirty tactics, it's because of them.
The one thing you cannot do, Ralph, you cannot do, is blame yourself.
He doesn't operate by traditional standards of fairness or honor. He operates by efficiency. Whether it's dealing with rivals or disciplining subordinates, he does what needs to be done to maintain power. That includes striking first, without warning. Fair fights are for boxers. Tony Soprano is in the business of ending them before they begin. If you think giving fake info to the feds isn't snitching, think again. let's talk about Larry Boy Baris and the fine line between strategy and ratting. Let's take a closer look.
I fed them bullshit. Nothing. Whatchamacallit, disinformation so I could live.
The guy sits down with law enforcement and deliberately feeds them disinformation. That's right, misleading them on purpose. Some people might call that a clever move. This misinformation thing is an ace? Sure, but sitting across from the feds? That's a problem.
Willie Overall, the bookie, Labor Day 1980.
You don't admit the existence of this thing of ours. Not directly, not sideways, not even in Morse code. If all he'd done was give them the location of Willie Overall's body and blamed a dead guy, Jackie April Sr., then maybe people would have let it slide. That sort of thing sometimes earns a pass. No living guys implicated, and technically, the case gets closed without damage to the current crew. Strategic, right? But here's the rub. Once you show you're willing to talk, even just a little, the feds are going to keep pushing. You think they're satisfied with half a story? He just admitted to knowing about a murder for decades and pointed fingers, dead or not. That's enough to bring heat down on everyone else. He put the boss dangerously close to federal indictment. That's not loyalty. That's exposure. Is it as bad as Ray Curto or Big Pussy Bonpensiero wearing a wire? Number. But it's still ratting.
However, I will do nothing, Tony, nothing to put you in harm's way. All he is.
Doesn't matter if the info is fake or if it's designed to mislead. If your name's on a 302, that's it. You're a rat. Feeding the feds anything is like tossing meat to sharks. Doesn't matter if it's spoiled. Blood is blood. He should have blamed a hangaround, an outsider, or shut his mouth and taken the fall. That's how it used to be. You don't talk, not even to save your skin. That's the old code. The feds aren't stupid. If they smell something useful, they dig. If they had run the forensics, they could have found the real killer. And then what? Tony goes down, all because Larry thought he was being clever.
Stretching back nearly 4 years. They represent the most crippling blow to mob activities.
So yeah, he helped Tony by pinning the hit on a dead guy. So what? Doesn't mean it wasn't dangerous. Doesn't mean it wasn't a betrayal. Talking about past crimes, especially ones the government didn't even know about, makes this whole organization look real. That's the worst part. You confirm the existence of the thing we all pretend doesn't exist. That's ratting. Some argue it was done to help the family. That maybe it was sanctioned. Maybe. But that doesn't change what it is. Tony himself tipped off the feds about a couple of terrorists, got a nice little thank you note. Feach got set up and taken down with law enforcement's help. These things happen.
Former bureau guys, very thorough. If they find abuses, we take those findings to the judge.
But make no mistake, it's all bending the rules. And there are rules. Even if they're held together with tape and hypocrisy. Larry might not be a pest rat, the kind that chews wires and brings the house down. But he's still a rat, a quiet one. One who maybe bought himself some time, but can't show his face the same way again. Once you talk, it's only a matter of time. The feds want living bodies. Larry sat down with them. Period. In the old days, guys wore their silence like a badge. Now, they're making excuses, calling it strategy. But if you're talking, even to throw them off, you've crossed the line. And that line doesn't care how clever you think you are. Larry's getting his pass while staring at his reflection through plexiglass. And if you think that pass is permanent, think again. Yo, don't make me go Pine Barrens on your ass. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe before I whack my laptop out of frustration.